Are we ready to go live? We are ready to go live. Hey, out there in internet land. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. It is Benchley night. And as I promised last week, tonight we're going to have a little James Thurber. We're going to have a little James Thurber because, well, here's my convoluted thinking. I was watching the January 6th. Well, last week I said we're going to have a little James Thurber, but I decided that tonight I was going to read Portrait of a Dog. And I was thinking about, I decided I would read that because I was thinking about the January 6th hearings and thinking about Jamie Raskin and his remarkable hair, ladies and gentlemen. But I was thinking about Jamie Raskin and how sad it was about his son, Tommy, killing himself a couple of years ago. And Tommy's note that he left said, look after each other and look after the animals. And so I was thinking a good beneficiary for the liberal snowplowing do-gooders would be the Vermont, the Vermont Disaster Animal Relief Team. And that's a group, a volunteer group, who, when there is a man-made or natural disaster in Vermont, and the National Guard is called out, and people are really concentrating on saving people, which is important, which is primary. This group goes out and tries to look after the animals, and that just seems like a wonderful and gentle beneficiary. And so I was going to read Portrait of a Dog. That ends with the dog stumbling up to its master, touching its muzzle to the guy's hand, and then keeling over. That was a little depressing because today I spent most of today working on the Ray Masuko concert series, which we're going to do at the Bellows Falls Opera House next year. Ray Masuko was a wonderful lawyer here in town who gave of himself greatly and produced concerts, took over Roots on the River from me in 2007, ran it for longer than I ran it until 2019. And he died unexpectedly about 2 weeks ago. And so we're, a bunch of us who used to work on Roots on the River are going to do this series of concerts annually at the Opera House, and hopefully going to teach this group how to produce concerts so I don't have to anymore. And after I kick off, they can do it. Anyway, I thought I'd probably tear up during Portrait of a Dog. So I was casting about thinking what other James Thurber I could read that had to do with animals. And I, of course, thought of The Pet Department, which is, letters to the pet department with illustrations. And I thought of this at about 6:45 tonight, and I raced back from the studio, and I quickly, with my amazing cell phone device, took pictures of all the Thurber drawings. Rather bad pictures, I must say. If I had more time, I would have done it somewhat better. But took pictures, and so we are going to, through the magic of StreamYard, even though Betty Sue is off on the road in Madison, Wisconsin tonight, I am going to try to run the slideshow here and provide, sorry, I just need to switch something here on the screen, and provide running visuals to go with the reading. So anyway, that's a very long-winded way of me getting around to thanking the very kind people who contributed to the Vermont Disaster Animal Relief Team. And those people would be, ladies and gentlemen, those people would be Mr. Jim Gilmore. It would be the excellent Phyllis and William Rosser. It would be the inimitable Terry Hudson. It would be the human being nonpareil, Melissa Berger. It would be the incomparable Catherine Fisher. That was a very anemic. This is from the new unidentified ungulate in the can. It was a very anemic praise for Catherine Fisher. Let's do that one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do that one more time. Much better. Up there in St. Albans, Vermont, Mr. Jim Frisk. And out there in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, out there putting up their "No on Oz" sign in the yard. My very, very tall cousin. Actually, they're putting him on the roof. He's so tall. My very, very, very tall cousin. And his excellent wife, Elise. And their little dog, Ginger. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Nat Hunter and Elise Hunter. And Elise apparently is the one who was behind the new unidentified ungulate, and a fine ungulate it is too. All right, without further ado, let us move to James Thurber's The Pet Department. Should we have it that size, or yeah, we'll try it that size, and if that doesn't work, I'll go larger with the picture. Okay. Oh, I'm not very well prepared. I had the book turned to the end. The Pet Department. Let's see, I'll get here so I'm not having my head cut off by the picture of the pet. I enclose a sketch of the way my dog William has been lying for 2 days now. I think there must be something wrong with him. Can you tell me how to get him out of this? Mrs. LLG. I should judge from the drawing that William is in a trance. Trance states, however, are rare with dogs. It may just be ecstasy. If at the end of another 24 hours he doesn't seem to be getting anywhere, I should give him up. The position of the ears leads me to believe that he may be enjoying himself in a quiet way, but the tail is somewhat alarming. Next slide, please, Charles. Let's go larger. Let's go larger. There we go. Question. Our cat, who is 35, spends all of her time in bed. She follows every move I make, and this is beginning to get on my nerves. She never seems sleepy, nor particularly happy. Is there anything I could give her? Miss LMC. Answer. There are no medicines which can safely be given to induce felicity in a cat, but you might try lettuce, which is a soporific for the wakefulness. I would have to see the cat watching you to tell whether anything could be done to divert her attention. Next slide, please. Question. My husband, who is an amateur hypnotist, keeps trying to get our bloodhound under his control. I contend that this is not doing the dog any good. So far, he has not yielded to my husband's influence, but I am afraid that if he once got under, we could not get him out of it. AAT. Answer. Dogs are usually left cold by all phases of psychology, mental telepathy, and the like. Attempts to hypnotize this particular breed, however, are likely to be fraught with a definite menace. A bloodhound, if stared at fixedly, is liable to gain the impression that it is under suspicion, being followed, and so on. This upsets a bloodhound's life by completely reversing its whole scheme of behavior. Next slide. Question. My wife found this owl in the attic amongst a lot of ormolu clocks and old crystal chandeliers. We can't tell whether it's stuffed or only dead. It is sitting on a strange and almost indescribable sort of iron dingbat. Mr. Moleth. Answer. What your wife found is a museum piece, a stuffed cockatoo. It looks to me like rather a botchy example of taxidermy. This is the first stuffed bird I have ever seen with its eyes shut, but whoever had it stuffed probably wanted it stuffed that way. I couldn't say what the thing it is sitting on is supposed to represent. It looks broken. Question. Our gull cannot get his head down any further than this and bumps into things. HLF. Answer. You have no ordinary gull to begin with. He looks to me a great deal like a rabbit backing up. If he is a gull, it is impossible to keep him in the house. Naturally, he will bump into things. Give him his freedom. Let's go large again. Question. My police dog is taken to acting very strange on account of my father coming home from work every night for the past 2 years and saying to him, "If you're a police dog, where's your badge?" After which he laughs. My father, that is. Ella R. Answer. The constant reiteration of any piece of badinage sometimes has the same effect on present-day neurotic dogs that it has on people. It is dangerous and thoughtless to twit a police dog on his powers, authority, and the like. From the way your dog seems to hide behind tables, large vases, and whatever that thing is that looks like a suitcase, I should imagine that your father has carried this thing far enough. Perhaps even too far. Question. My husband's seal will not juggle, although we have tried everything. Answer. Most seals will not juggle. I think I have never known one that juggled. Seals balance things and sometimes toss objects, such as that large ball in your sketch, from one to another. This last will be difficult if your husband has but one seal. I'd try him in plain balancing, beginning with a billiard cue or something. It may be, of course, that he is a non-balancing seal. Question. We have a fish with ears, and we wonder if it is valuable. Joe Wright. Answer. I find no trace in the standard fish books of any fish with ears. Very likely the ears do not belong to the fish, but to some mammal. They look to me like a mammal's ears. It'd be pretty hard to say what species of mammal, and almost impossible to determine what particular member of that species. They may merely be hysterical ears, in which case they will go away if you can get the fish's mind on something else. But better go large, don't you think? Yeah. Question. How would you feel if every time you looked up from your work or anything, there was a horse peering at you from behind something? He prowls about the house at all hours of the day and night, does not seem worried about anything, merely wakeful. What should I do to discourage him? Mrs. Grace Boynton. Answer. Your horse is probably sad. Changing the flower decorations of your home to something less like open meadows might discourage him. But then I doubt whether it's a good idea to discourage a sad horse. In any case, speaking to him quietly when he turns up, in any case, try speaking to him quietly when he turns up from behind things. Leap Leaping at a horse in a house and crying, "Ruggy, ruggy, ruggy," or "whoosh," will only result in breakage and bedlam. Of course, you may finally get used to having him around, if the house is big enough for the both of you. Question. The fact that my dog sits this way so often leads me to believe that something is preying on his mind. He seems always to be studying. Would there be any way of finding out what this is? Arthur. Answer. Owing to the artificially complex life led by city dogs of the present day, they tend to lose the simpler systems of intuition which once guided all breeds, and frequently lapse into what comes very close to mental perplexity. I myself have known some very profoundly thoughtful dogs. Usually, however, their problems are not serious, and I should judge that your dog has merely mislaid something and wondered where he has put it. But better go large. Question. We have cats the way most people have mice. Mrs. C.L. Footloose. Answer. I see you have. I can't tell from your communication, however, whether you wish advice or are just boasting. Question. No one has been able to tell us what kind of dog we have. I am enclosing a sketch of one of his two positions. He only has two. The other one is the same as this, except he faces in the opposite direction. Mrs. Eugenia Black. Answer. I think that what you have is a cast iron lawn dog. The expressionless eyes and the rigid pose are characteristics of metal lawn animals, and that is certainly a cast iron ear. You could, however, remove all doubt by means of a simple test with a hammer and a cold chisel, or an acetylene torch. If the animal chips or melts, my diagnosis is correct. My eldest boy, Ford Maddox Ford Griswold, worked this wooden horse loose from a merry-go-round one night when he and some other young people were cutting up. Could you suggest any use for it in a family of 5? Mrs. R.L.S. Griswold. Answer. I cannot try the patience of my public, nor waste my own time dealing with the problems of insensate animals. Already I've gone perhaps too far afield in the case of stuffed birds and cast iron lawn dogs. Pretty soon I should be giving advice on wire-haired fox terrier weather vanes. Question. Mr. Jennings bought this beast when it was a pup in Montreal for a St. Bernard, but I don't think it is. It's grown enormously, and it is stubborn about letting you have anything like the bath towel it has its paws on, and the hat, both of which belonged to Mr. Jennings. He got it that bowling ball to play with, but it does not seem to like it. Mr. Jennings is greatly attached to the creature. Mrs. Fanny Edwards Jennings. Answer. What you have is a bear. Well, it isn't my bear. I should recommend that you dispose of it. As these animals grow older, they get more and more adamant about letting you have anything, until finally there might not be anything in the house you could call your own, except possibly that bowling ball. Zoos use bears. Mr. Jennings can visit it. Next slide. Question. Sometimes my dog does not seem to know me. I think he must be crazy. He will draw away or show his fangs when I approach him. H.M. Morgan, Jr. Answer. So would I, and I'm not crazy. If you creep up on your dog the way you indicate in this drawing, I can understand his viewpoint. Put your shirt in and straighten up. You look as if you'd never seen a dog before, and that is undoubtedly what is bothering the animal. These maladjustments can often be worked out by the use of a little common sense. Question. After a severe storm, we found this old male raven in the study of my father, the Honorable George Morton Bodwell, for many years head of the Latin department at Tufts, sitting on a bust of Livy, which was a gift to him from the class of '92. All the old bird will say is, "Rock." Can ravens be taught to talk, or is that merely Poe just romancing? Mrs. H. Bodwell Coleweather. Answer. I am handicapped by an uncertainty as to who says "walk," the raven or your father. It just happens that "ark" is what ravens say. I have never known a raven that said anything but "ark." Question. I have 3 Scotch Terriers which take things out of closets and down from shelves, etc. My veterinarian advised me to gather together all of the wreckage, set them down in the middle of it, and say, "Bad Scotties." This, however, merely seems to give them a kind of pleasure. If I spank one, the other 2 jump me. Playfully, but they jump me. Mrs. O.S. Proctor. A. To begin with, I question the advisability of having 3 Scotch Terriers. They are bound to get you down. However, it seems to me that you are needlessly complicating your own problem. The Scotties probably think you're trying to enter into the spirit of their play. Their inability to comprehend what you are trying to get at will, in the end, make them melancholy, and you and the dogs will begin to drift further and further apart. I deal with each terrier and each object separately, beginning with the telephone, the disconnection of which must inconvenience you sorely. Question. My husband paid $175 for this moose to a man in Dorset, Ontario, who said he had trapped it in the woods. Something is wrong with his antlers, for we have to keep twisting them back into place all the time. They're loose. Mrs. Oliphant Beatty. Answer. You people are living in a fool's paradise. The animal is obviously a horse with a span of antlers strapped onto its head. If you really want a moose, dispose of the horse. If you want to keep the horse, take the antlers off. Their constant pressure on his ears is not a good idea. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. That is Benchley night, in this case, Thurber night, for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, we'll be gone for a few weeks, so we won't be back until mid-November, but we'll see you then. Until then, you take good care and look out for one another. All right. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.